Hello, I want to, before I jump into anything, give a little disclaimer here. You saw the title. I'm sure you can make an assumption about the vague area of what the topic will be. I want to say this is not me speaking on the entire furry community. This is a very small minority there. I don't want this to be seen as like me sending out hate and being like, oh my god, look at these furries. Blah, blah, blah. That's not what this is about. I spoke to some people on my server yesterday who are furries and they were like, yeah, this like we don't like this part of the community. They're disgusting. You know, there are certain words that I'm going to get into. They had no issues with me making this video. They actively like denounced this side. This is not what the entire community is about. So I just want to state that. Please don't go and like send hate to just random furries you see, because this is just a small little bubble. But I wanted to get into it because it is very hidden. It's very niche. It was hard to actually gather all this information. And saying that, I had to jump back and forth between different archives and stuff because everything's kind of like gone now. Please keep that in mind. I tried to make it as linear as I could, but there's a lot there. There's a lot of back and forth. That's my little disclaimer. Please don't go and send hate to furries or anything. This is just this part of the community. And that's what we're talking about. But I'm sure you can guess there are going to be some trigger warnings here, specifically animal trigger warnings, some child trigger warnings. I'm going to try my best to not get into things too graphically, but there will be some potential graphic mentions, but I'm going to try my best and just state what is needed, not go into too much detail. Regarding a certain file, I'm not going to say the full word because YouTube already has enough beef with me and I'm on thin ice. I would just be using the word zoo. I'm going to need you to work with me here and fill in some blanks, but we're just going to get into it. Now, if you are not new to the internet, you know of Bad Dragon. Bad Dragon is a adult toy company that produces toys, if you get my drift. And so in 2007, Bad Dragon was posted as just sort of an idea to a reptilian forum site and stated, we'll get into that. But from this, Varka, hey all, I thought I'd share with you some things I've been working on lately. Yep, that's the Scaly's foot. Now, before you get any ideas, yes, this is going to be used for things, not by me. I'm not into foot paws, but I know someone very special who is. I'm going to be casting it in silicone and making it all Murray suitable for, well, let's be frank, insertion, and for putting things between the toes. Here's another I'm in the process of casting. I was randomly sculpting and came up with this shape. I can't think of a name other than the Ripple. Basically, I'm starting an animal business. I got fed up of Zeta Creations not making anything new or innovative, not upgrading the materials, their vinyl is shockingly bad for longevity, and generally making a complete hash of things. 3 months to make my Thor. They did, however, make an absolute gem, the Griffin. Never before in my life have I'll be frank again, hard is when I knot my Griffin. It's absolutely fantastic. The knot tickles just the right places and steering against it is absolutely murr. Also, let's face it, for a lot of us this is the closest we're legally going to get to the real thing. I'm in it for the experience and the love, and I'm planning to do live casts from a live gator too. Here's my plan list of toys. Please note all the pictures linked here are located on my toy design inspirations gallery. I'm not going to show any of these. I don't even really want to look at them. Just know they are graphic and art reptiles. That's what I'm going to say. Some ideas for live casts. Gator, male and female. Yeah, I can do female toys, just give me time. Monitor lizard, horse, pony, cows, sheep, dogs, almost anything else human usable that people might be interested in. Now, before I go any further, I do want to note there is no evidence that any Bad Dragon toys were actually made from using live casts. I know quite a lot of people think that that's fact. It's not. And I'm trying to say this in a way not to downplay what was just said because it's absolutely vile and no business idea should be built on live casting from animals. But I want to be factual here, that was never done. Of my knowledge, there is no proof that that ever happened. I did see a Reddit comment stating that there are companies that do that. But this is not one of them. But as Varka did write, he never went through on using real animals for Bad Dragon products, in part because live casting takes things a little too far into zoo than he's comfortable with. However, there is more on this thread that is worth looking into. As he states, as you can see, there's plenty to go by here, and I've invested a whole bunch of money from the proceeds of the VPN business I've set up on the same servers as Herpy is posted on blah blah blah. And buy materials, tools, and everything else I need to do this. Half of my bedroom has been converted into a factory, hee. Now, this is speculation. I can't say this is fact, but people did say that the VPN was made as a means to have zoos cover their tracks online. However, with the VPN tunnel, Varka did make another comment. I actually have another business that's a lot more social acceptable, well-ish, that might make an interesting case point. VPN tunnel. Started in university accommodation because I couldn't get BitTorrent or games over the firewall/proxied internet connection. It took nearly 2 years of going through different investors and other crap before I decided to bite the bullet and just release the damn thing and see if I could get 30 users to make the server pay for itself. Within 9 days, I had 114 users, earning me £900-ish a month. That's $1,800. Thanks to catching the eye of a well-known torrent news site, by December I was making over £2,000 a month. It was incredible. My thousands of hours of work was finally paying off. Then I got into contact with a competitor, which had everything but a technical solution, including real proper funding, and the best leader I've ever met, who made $100 million or so in the dot-com boom. Lost it all in 9/11. Got involved in smuggling and did 2 years for possession of 150-ish kilograms of coke. Came out the other end a changed man and started a privacy company. I had the technical solution but no business, tax, financial management experience, which meant that when we merged the two companies into Beneke, I was in the perfect position to concentrate on what I want to do most, manage the technical side of stuff. The guy he's talking about here with Beneke, if you go onto their company overview, you see a name called Douglas Spink. Now, we already have the information that apparently this guy smuggled in, but that's not all I done. Now, I'm going to put up a little news clipping here. Douglas Spink. It's just really interesting that all these people are merging and helping fund the creation of the company. Not only did Zoo help fund the creation of the company, but they love to employ zoos to work for them, which I'm not really shocked considering the nature of what they're selling and who their clientele might be. But the fact that this is such a well-known, joked about brand, it's kind of disturbing. There is an entire archive of all the zoos that they have employed in their company. I don't feel I need to go through every single one of them, but I do want to focus on one called Kamo. And according to the Badragon wiki, Kamo is the chief operating officer for the company. It is also worth noting that their username on Twitter was Rotte Dog. And considering what I'm going to get into, I don't even... okay. Kamo used to go by Kamodragon and joined Beast Forum in 2005, stating, "New to the forum, but not new to the zoo. I'm 20, in Tucson, bi or tri as I've called it, into stallions, not into any female animal other than the human one. I have a few dogs of my own which I've shared some good times with. Nice to see other zoos locally." There is more comments of Kamo talking about his Rotte, with someone posting on the forum stating, "Hey, I wanted to know, I have a Doberman, less than 1 year old. I wanted to know if he is too young to play with, as in does he produce any cum or too young? And has anyone done anything with their Doberman? And there anything to know about them when doing anything? Thanks." Kamo stated, "When my Rotte was a pup, he was into playing too. It all depends on your pet, whether or not he wants to play or not. You may not come when he's very young, but you'll be able to show him how to do these things easier with an older dog." Now, you're probably wondering, like, that's illegal. That should be illegal, right? Right? Like, I feel like I'm particularly struggling with things to add here because what do I need to say here? What do I need to say apart from present the information? On that note, there is a thread about posting car plate numbers because Kamo loves his cars and his bikes. But someone pointed out, like, "Hey, maybe you shouldn't post your license plate here." But he stated, "Thanks for looking out for me. Things like that don't bug me too much because anyone that traces my plate will see that I work for DPS and probably won't want to bother me too much. But I agree, this form is not intended for my post." And DPS is the Arizona Department of Public Safety. There's more in that, in which he states, "There may not be a specific law making be illegal, but like here in Arizona, they just charge you with animal or cruelty to animals and you still get some time." I have looked over some of the court cases we have had here, and although there are no ARS in the books for they always plead guilty to some related charges. Best bet, stay away from narrow-minded law enforcement and use common sense. Orker, for the Arizona Department of Public Safety, said to stay away from narrow-minded law enforcement. But apparently he had a police investigation which just mysteriously fell through. Okay. Now there's even more posts about him abusing his dog. I don't really want to read any more than I have to. Just know they're there. I'll link the archive if you want to look at them yourself. You can. I gave one. That should be enough, right? But it's worth noting that this is the fursuit that Kamo uses, called Chico the Rotte. And that fursuit was still spotted promoting Badragon even after his abuse came out. But considering who founded it, I'm not shocked, right? We're not shocked. Now, I'm just going to pop up some more known workers who were animals here. I'm just going to add in some more workers here that we knew as animals. They're just collecting them like Pokemon cards. That's great. That's lovely. I love that for them. Before I move on to the next section, I do want to state that Badragon has dabbled in cub products called the Adolescent. And if you don't know what cub is, think about what a cub is, and then the term adolescent. And from a Reddit thread, someone commented, "Why does the furry fandom support Badragon when they protect and fund pedos? Jason FX, FA, the Pink and Caps Corner, his zoo child bride, and Peace Wolf, the ex-wife, who abused her kid and husband and left them to be in a poly relationship with them. You know, the pedo, the zoo, and the child who left a kid with a supposed abuse before saying they hated the kid, took everything, leaving them penniless, and then proceeded to spend months taunting the kid and her ex by laughing, memeing, and drawing porn, and also left a card bragging to her ex and kid how much she hated and despised them before running off to my country, Canada, to hide. And they done a collab with Jason. So there's a lot of dirt on him. A lot of it's kind of, again, hidden and just hearsay because they love deleting stuff. But if you search up that username, there's a lot of questionable stuff, like getting together with a teen when you're in your 20s. Who they worked with. So I think the most frustrating part about this is every single video or every single article about Bad Dragon is about their lawsuits, how they treat their employees, which is horrific. I'll put up a little blog here that details all of that if you want to go read that yourself. I'll also link it below. Their company practices are so vile and horrific, but that's always the conversation, not their zoo history. And whenever it's sort of brought up on like Twitter or Reddit, a lot of people are very hush-hush about it. I think because they don't want the entire furry community to be painted in a bad light. But in my opinion, I feel like that just makes you look worse. I feel like you would want to be openly spreading this and talking about it, because what the started off by supposedly wanting to do live casts on animals, was funded by a convicted zoophile who's not allowed pets, who's not allowed access to pets because of what they've done, works with zoophiles who have admitted to working in the Department of Public Safety and dogs and been able to just get away with that because of their work and their job. Just the fact that there are multiple known employees, that should be more than enough, shouldn't it? The company startup should be enough. I don't even know how to say this, but like the fact that they were given such a huge platform and are seen as like the end all be all of this market, which they were filling a market that like wasn't as huge at the time. I think it's gross. This is not the entire community. I understand that. This is just a little small bit of it which shouldn't exist. And I think it should be spoken about because every even on Twitter, the comments to the replies on some of these posts on Twitter were vile. Like, how can you think that this is okay and how can you want to support this? Because you want to do stuff to your dog? You're giving your entire community a bad rap because you're the loud minority. But that's what I could find. Again, it was all archived. I had to go on like the Wayback Machine to try and get news articles and stuff. One only had like one snapshot and I was so lucky for that. The other two weren't working. So if you have any more information, please do let me know. I don't really know why this isn't a bigger issue that people just aren't talking about. I get out of fear of like not wanting to give them like the community a bad rep, but come the fuck on. Come on. Yeah, that's me. There was so much more to talk about here, but it's already been covered in other videos. This is the part that people aren't talking about. So I don't feel I need to get into the lawsuits, the employee abuse. I will leave the links below if you want to look at that yourself. But that has already been very widely discussed. This I could only find on like Twitter replies and some Reddit comments. So yeah, if you have any more information, please do let me know and look after yourself. Take care. Hope you're okay, and I will see you all next time. Bye.